any given moment, you can find a high-quality stock that's selling off for reasons that have nothing to do with the fundamentals of the underlying company. And occasionally, those sell-offs represent fabulous buying opportunities. Take ServiceNow, NOW for all you home gamers, the cloud-based software company that helps large businesses manage and automate various services across their whole enterprise. They started out by developing a platform that allows corporate IT departments to develop their own internal applications. But since then, they've expanded into offering software that assists with human resources, legal, finance, and marketing. A couple of weeks ago, April 20th, ServiceNow reported a truly terrific quarter. Hey, you know what? The strongest tech quarter of the year. Just a juicy top and bottom line beat with huge billings growth of 41% and a strong outlook for both the next quarter and the next year. And in response, the stock followed from 65 to 74 the next day. However, over the last week, ServiceNow has gotten hammered, along with so many other technology plays, including a $2.23 decline today. Now, the stock has fallen back to 67 and change, just a couple of bucks above where it was trading before the company reported that spectacular quarter. That's crazy. So let's take a closer look with Frank Slootman. He's the president and CEO of ServiceNow. Learn more about his company's doing and where it's headed. Mr. Slootman, welcome to Mad Money.
Yeah, good to be on with you, Jim.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, this was the quarter end all quarters. And what I want to do, there's a company that reported a fantastic number today. I figured maybe you just let our viewers say what you did for them. It's Zillow. We all know it. As a matter of fact, in Zillow's conference call, they said it's the most, when it comes to real estate, it's the most Googled word, even more than real estate. What have you helped Zillow do? Because I know that their numbers were quite better than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, companies like Zillow, represent next generation consumer cloud companies. They obviously rely on a very high availability, very strong consumer service experience, and that's what ServiceNow does. We do the care and feeding of their cloud, so that helps enable them to deliver a very strong experience to their end customers.
What was interesting was that I often try to figure out who do these good tech companies dislodge. But when I look at what you guys do, you seem to dislodge manual processing. It isn't like you're coming in and taking business away from others. You're actually creating your own category.
Well, to some degree, that's correct, Jim. But there are legacy systems that we replaced, and people were always having something in place. Sometimes it's homegrown, and sometimes it is from a legacy company. So there typically has been something there that we replace. It's not completely manual. The volume of work that flows through these systems is just too high to sort of rely on email and walking around and phone calls.
And these are big million-dollar contracts. You got a bunch of them this last quarter.
Yes, we now have 249 customers that are paying us more than $1 million a year. We had a record number of upsells, 13 upsells during the quarter. So that was one of the themes that we highlighted in our call, is that the relationships that we have with our Global 2000 customers are expanding rapidly in terms of the dollar volume.
Now, one thing that you seem to understand that most people in your industry don't is how important it is if your stock price is elevated, that you do this. I'm going to say, well, the reality, this is a quote from you in the call. Well, the reality is that for high growth companies like ours, every quarter sort of has to be our best quarter ever. How can you manage that, Frank? How can every quarter be your best quarter ever?
Well, it's actually a little easier than it sounds, Jim. And what people need to understand about the SaaS model is that when you have a high renewal rate like we do, that's in the high 90s, 97, 98%, and that really means that everything that you sell incrementally represents growth. So if you're not growing as a SaaS company, that really means you're not really selling anything, assuming that the renewal rates are in those high 90%. So it was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment relative to the software as a service cloud crowd out there.
Well, I know it was, but at the same time, I mean, our viewers are so used to companies slipping up, frankly, that it was great to see someone just delivering. Now, on your IT app acquisition last month, you're talking about how most companies don't just have one cloud. We tend to think that they're in the cloud. It means one cloud. Most of them are not like that, and they need your help, right?
That's correct. I mean, the hybrid cloud environment is really the norm. People got Amazon out there. They have Google. They have Microsoft, and they have their own internal private clouds. Managing deployments of services across all those systems is incredibly complex, and that's what the ITAP acquisition is going to be focused on.
Now, you have your user conference coming up. How many people do you expect? And is this becoming one of those user conferences like one day we should expect for Salesforce or that Oracle has?
Yeah, we're expecting about 12,000 people registered for the conference. This is actually a 10-year anniversary of the conference. It's called Knowledge 16. It's really, we're positioning it more as an industry conference than as a vendor conference.
Okay, now you're moving into HR service management. When I think of that, I think about Workday. I mean, you going head-to-head against guys like Workday and Oracle for this stuff?
No, really not. We actually have a very strong relationship with Workday. Many of our customers deploy both ServiceNow and Workday and have very good value-added integrations in between the systems. So the simple way to think of it is that Workday really manages the records of HR, whereas we tend to manage the work of HR. So there's a very nice sort of a yin and yang give and take between Workday and us. And we're a Workday customer ourselves, and Workday is a ServiceNow customer. So it sort of gives you a feel for that.
Well, you've done an amazing job in a year where almost everybody is disappointed. You're still doing it, and it's just a testament to both your product and to your execution skills. Thank you so much, Frank Slootman. He's the president and CEO of ServiceNow. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks.
When I talk about a market move, sending all stocks down, and you want growth, this company delivered the best growth of any technology company this quarter. ServiceNow, symbol NOW. You ought to take a hard look at it. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.